Welcome, Pulling fans. It is Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central Time. You know what that means. Outlawed live. We are 24 days away. That's 3 weeks and 3 days. Count them 3 and 3. Chuck Woolery used to say 2 and 2. There on what was that show he had? Scrabble, 2 and 2. Well, 3 and 3. Ladies and gentlemen, 3 and 3. 3 weeks, 3 days, and we go live 2025 at Ravenna, Nebraska. Go ahead and throw that graphic up there real quick. We'll post her on Facebook there. All those classes listed. Super Mod 2-wheel drive, diesel supers, light limited mods, limited pros, light limited pros, light super stocks, light super ag, mod tractors, pro stock 4x4s, pro stock tractors, and super farm tractors, all at Ravenna. June 6th and 7th at Anabar Park in Ravenna, Nebraska, 7 p.m. start time, both days. Welcome, everybody. We're getting excited. Mike, tell the folks how excited you are about pulling season, buddy. You're going to the
it's one of those that I cannot wait. This is what we live for, Ron. We live and breathe it. Can't wait to get back to Ravenna. One thing I did not fully appreciate last year is the magnitude and the gravity of that pull. That is a massive event to kickstart the season. And last year being just wanting to get my feet wet and kind of learn as much as I could, one thing that kind of went over my head was just the extent of a big show that is. You know, later on in the season, you look at Wayne, you look at Rock Valley, you look at Whizzer, and you know those are heavy hitters. But I can't wait to get back to Ravenna now that I know what I'm supposed to be looking at and just see how big of a show that's going to be. Fingers crossed two-day show this year as opposed to a water-soaked one-day show. I know that they've had some issues with the weather before. Yeah. It's early spring. It is what it is. But, hey, we're going to think positively, and we're going to keep those rain clouds away. Pulling is right around the corner, Ron. This is what we do, my friend.
Yeah, it's getting starting to feel it now. The Sullivan pull in Kentucky was this past weekend. The Pullers Championship coming up this weekend. We're 3 weeks away from starting the Outlaw season. 43 events, over 50 sessions of pulling this year with the Outlaws. Man, I'm really excited. The Organics Midwest Summer Sweep is going to be huge. Then Organics, I get word last week in talking to the folks there at Organics and talking to Todd Bowles that they're going to do something else, even above and beyond the Summer Sweep. No details just yet, but it's going to be over on the eastern side of the Outlaw pulling region. So I'm gonna keep my lips sealed here on it for now, and still working out the details. But we want to come out with some cool graphics and things, and still putting out all the class schedules and everything, the individual class schedules for the summer sweep, which is super cool to be part of this thing, man.
Yeah, I know you and I the other night we were talking without letting any details out. We were kind of brainstorming about what maybe we would call it, or what even you and I would reference it as, you know, as announcers and whatnot. So it's going to be neat, folks. Just keep a weather eye on the horizon, look to the east, and it's going to be really, really cool.
Yeah, we've got some really cool guests on tonight. We've got Rich Rozeboom and Kurt Kooima going to be coming on here directly from Thunder in the Valley. Mike and I were talking right before we went live here. What a great website they have. If you want any information about Thunder in the Valley on where to park, if you're bringing a camper, what ticket prices are, if you want to buy your tickets ahead of time.
The ticket packages, really cool ways of going and getting, you know, if you want to camp, you can buy a camping package, and they're going to kick in a couple of tickets with it. If you want to go to a one-day show, you want to go to multiple sessions, it's really cool how they're, you know, promoting this and making this available to the public.
Yeah, some really cool things going on there in Rock Valley for Thunder in the Valley this year. Like I said, the town itself, the folks in town, really getting behind this event. They're going to have some activities in town on Saturday afternoon, Saturday morning and Saturday afternoon. Of course, that pull going to 3 days. It's always been 3 sessions. Now it's going to 3 days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Huge deal there. Expecting a lot of pullers we don't normally see with the Outlaws there. I'm hearing from states back east, from states out west. So how'd that song go, that Wade Hayes song? Up north, down south, back east, out west. They're coming from all over the country to Rock Valley this year. Going to be awesome to see all these friends from these other organizations coming in and joining us this year.
Let's talk briefly too about that. Let's just analyze moving. I like you pointed out, it's still a 3-session pull, but now it's a 3-night pull, basically taking your Saturday afternoon, moving it to a Thursday night. Pullers have got to like that, I would imagine. They're not going to be running around ragged quite as much. They're going to get the nighttime track. Fans, are we going to see, them saying, hey, this doesn't conflict with the middle of the day heat, or, maybe it's after work hours?
Right.
A Thursday night session, does that tend to just perform better on all aspects than maybe a day session? What have you seen over your years, Ron, on that?
I think there's only certain events that can pull that off, to pull a Thursday night or a night session that's not centered around a fair. A fair motorsports event is fine because the community, rallies around their county fair.
They're there anyway.
What night it is, they plan for that. A pull, it has to be a special pull to be able to pull off a Thursday night. And, your Thunder in the Valley, your Thunder by the River, pulls like that can pull that off because they are destination events and they're only growing.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're growing. So people put that on their schedule. They'll take days off to jump in the camper and go to Rock Valley, Iowa, or Wisner, Nebraska, and camp and, make a mini vacation out of it, if you will. So, yeah, I think it depends on the event, and Rock Valley could definitely pull this off.
So good move for everyone involved. Pullers gotta love it, with it not being running and gunning, and the 4-wheel drive guys avoiding that daytime track. Though we were told point blank last year from some legendary pullers, best daytime track they'd ever pulled on.
Yeah.
But you always know they love to see that moisture come up, and they love to pull of an evening.
Yeah, it's better all around. It takes a little bit of the stress out of Saturday. Yeah. We can breathe a little easier.
Saturday was almost one mega session with a brief intermission, truth be told, with the size it was getting at. But I know this last Saturday you had about enough time to, kind of put on a different polo and then be back in the crow's nest because it was time to rock and roll.
Yeah, splash a little water on your face, some fresh deodorant, and back out to the crow's nest you go. And that's the same for the techs and the track officials out there working, right out in the heat.
That's a good point.
That's one big session for them. Checking in on some of the comments here. Zuck Fukerberg, of course, that's Doug Both. 10 spots with 50 amp hookups. Contact messenger on white right text. I want to claim one of those right now, Doug. So just go ahead and put Ron Stone down. You got to take care of your announcer down there, man. Announcer's got to have electricity. But put me down for one of those for sure.
It's hot, and we want to not be relying on generator power.
Marty Samuelson, the de facto mayor of Ravenna, Nebraska, counting the days down to 24 days. You got it, 24 days exactly. We'll be 9 minutes. In 24 days, we'll be 9 minutes in of Outlaw pulling in 2025 in Ravenna. Tina Berger checking in. Tina and Eric Berger from Wilbur, Nebraska. Cannot wait for Ravenna. We appreciate you guys too, all the super fans out there. Seen a cool promotion at 5 grams fuel support travels for competitors. Giveaway drawing. That's cool. Not sure who that's with. Mike, did you see that?
I haven't seen that one. No, but it's a neat concept.
Good evening, gentlemen. Just sitting here waiting for Lowe's soccer game to start. Cool. Brandon Gilliland checking in.
Good.
I think he's headed to the Pullers Championship this weekend. With a triple engine Chevy. Wow, look at that, man. Strong arming the announcer down there. That's rough. That's rough. Chris Kilbarger checking in. So just want to throw some graphics up here too. Thanks everybody for checking in. And something I want to talk about here, that Freeport, Illinois pool. A lot of questions about the jackpot. Now, set this aside from the jackpot. It is double the purse, okay? Double the purse in the modified tractor division on Wednesday night. It's the Outlaw modifieds, Outlaw and ITPA modifieds. Double purse. Then set aside from that, they are doing a jackpot buy-in. It is optional. It's not mandatory. But if they have 15 buy-ins If they have 15, they're giving away a big chunk of money. I'm going to try to pull that graphic up here.
That you're flirting right there. That's a Farley-ish concept anyway. If you buy that in times 22, that's nothing to sneeze at. That could be a real deal if we get 15 of these guys to show up to that.
Yeah, it's a $2,200 buy-in for that jackpot. Very cool deal. It's optional. I love it that it's optional. Yeah, the fair there in Freeport has really stepped up on this deal and making this happen. So it's the StevensCountyFair.org. That's Stevens with a PH, StevensCountyFair.org if you want to get all the details of that. And I'll bring them up here tonight too. We're trying to rush through before we get our guests on here. Henry County Fair in Cambridge, Illinois. Of course, that goes along with the Donaldson pool there. Just want to throw all these graphics up there, these different pools. Some of these pool flyers we're starting to get in. Of course, Thunder in the Valley, in Rock Valley, Iowa. I just received the flyer, and I'm trying to get it to my email. I just received it via text. I'm trying to get it to my email so we can pull that up for White-Wright. We're pulling White-Wright. This is the Labor Day weekend pull. It's a Monday event at the South Dakota State Fair. Of course, the Outlaws back at the South Dakota State Fair this year. So 2 stops in the great state of South Dakota.
Pulling on Labor Day itself. That's a neat aspect, a neat way to do things. So that'll be fun.
So pretty excited about going back there.
Yep.
Mark Ham, he's already checking the weather here. He's 24 days out, and you got a lot of trust in the weatherman up there, Mark. Just saying. I see that 10-day forecast. You got to kind of take that with a grain of salt when you get the 10-day in the Midwest.
Says Marty's evidently placed an order for it. So, he's going to tell them exactly how much precipitation we want, which is just enough for the crops and none after that for the pull. Put it in the fields, but leave it off the track. We'll bring our own water and cut it into the track as needed.
Yep. So now, Mike, are you announcing this weekend? You're announcing at the
I'm going to be doing Winter Circle and trackside. Going to be doing the interviews. Dan's running Crow's Nest, and I will be taking Chris Clark was unable to be back with us this year at the Pullers Championship, so I'll be down boots on the ground reporting live from the circles and talking to the drivers. But yeah, it'll be my second year back out there at the Pullers Championship. Neat event. Look forward to chatting with all the pulling friends and keeping a close eye on how our Outlaw home team performs while they're out there. Of course, 7,400-pound mod class. They're calling it the light mod class. I'm going to continue to call it the Outlaw or the 7,400-pound mod class. Really cool opportunity for the whole world to get to see that class. So going to be fun to watch that shakedown this weekend.
And there was a little bit of confusion with that when they announced the light modified class being introduced there. A lot of people were thinking, okay, Outlaws light modified with the Outlaws, and they actually mentioned the Outlaws and ITPA. Well, light modified with the Outlaws, we're thinking light limited modified. We're thinking, single Hemis, single turbines, an Allison aircraft engine. But no, that would be like the NTPA calls that twin engine Hemi a light modified.
But they
are lighter.
They run it at 6,000 pounds. So there's a lot of, to me, the name was a freckle misleading, and that's not to throw, anybody under the bus. It's a modified class that happens to be lighter than the other mod class, but it's a 7,400-pound Outlaw mod class, ITPA mod class. I was talking to who was I talking to on Let's Grow Pulling the other night? I was talking to Donnie Sullivan, and he actually says this is the mod class of the future. He said 7,400 pounds, twin Hemis. He goes, we're running exclusively the twin setup on the Kentucky in this year. He goes, we're going to bounce back and forth between the NTPA light mod and hit some Outlaw hooks. He goes, but that setup with your guys' weight at 7,400 pounds, he goes, that's what modified pulling is going to be 20 years from now. I think he's right in that assessment.
Yeah, as those horsepower numbers keep going up, I mean, you're talking 6,000 plus horsepower now with two Hemis at 6,000 pounds. Wow. How do you put that to the ground?
Yeah.
That's tough. And those numbers are just going to keep inching up there. Those horsepower numbers make it even harder to get it to the ground. At 7,400 pounds, they have trouble getting it to the ground. So you really have to pray you have a good track builder at these events if you're running that much horsepower at 6,000 pounds. Marty says it's pretty dry up there in Ravenna right now. Need rain. About 10 days before about the forecast. He's not going to mention anything about the forecast.
Not even going to talk about it.
Being a little superstitious here. So yeah, don't make any predictions, Marty. Just leave it as it is here. So, well, we got these guys backstage. They look like they're ready. That Kooima guy looks like he could use a little more time in the makeup room, but we're going to go ahead and bring him on. So, from the Valley Pullers in Rock Valley, Iowa, we've got the Rich Rozeboom and Kurt Kooima. Good evening, gentlemen. How's it going?
Good evening. You can hear me?
We can hear you.
Yep, got my makeup done, so I'm good.
Makeup's all done. Good deal. Well, guys, we've been checking out the website here, and great job on the website. Whoever set that up for you, all the details are in there. I mean, if there's any questions, I mean, the FAQ is basically your website. All the information is right there.
Yeah, we had definitely some local CyberAC helped us out with that, and Tim Lancaster, got to give him some credit as well. Got it done well.
Yeah, we're just going to peruse through this a little bit. Now, of course, the big news for Rock Valley this year is 3 days: Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Is this a big undertaking for you guys, or does it actually take a little bit of stress off from that Saturday?
I'll let Kooima talk about that.
I think it's going to be a lot less stress, in my own opinion. But trying to get everything ready in the heat all the time, be old. And...
Yeah, like Mike and I were talking here when we first opened the show. You know, Mike said, that Saturday session, the 2 sessions, was more like one great big session, Saturday and Saturday night. Wasn't much downtime in between. Of course, you guys have so many pullers there. It's hard to squeeze all that in one day, 2 sessions.
Yeah, and then to not have to tell people who's pulling on Saturday afternoon anymore. Always.
What was that a big response of it? Or I want to kind of hear about, when you guys started chewing on this, just the pullers not having to do a daytime hook. Was that a big plus? Or walk us through all the positives that you guys felt that this was going to come from having a 3-day show now.
Oh, I think first of all is the pullers not having to pull on Saturday afternoon is a big, huge plus. But the other main thing, I think fans would rather sit there at night than during the day when it is hot.
Yeah.
Well, I think our afternoon tracks the last couple of years have been really good, but it's still just tiring for everybody, and it pushes everything to the max.
Yeah, kind of everybody. Yeah, everybody in general, track crew, you guys, the pullers, everybody. It is a little bit stressful there that Saturday. Now, last year you guys kind of had something unique happen. You covered the track up because you were expecting rain. You put water on it. You rolled it in and sealed it up and covered it. Then the next day, or the next night, everyone said it was the best track they'd ever pulled on there. I mean, are you guys going to do that again? Are you going to try that recipe again this year?
Yeah, it is the best recipe for the track. It's whether them tarps aren't cheap, but holding that moisture all day long and letting it basically the track just set was the number one attribute to why it was so good.
Creates a greenhouse, basically, right? I mean, you're just creating condensation and you're creating humidity that just has nowhere to go but back into the soil. Is that essentially what happened?
Yeah. I think you're 100% right. I think the number one, the settlement of the whole track's had all night to settle after we ripped it all apart. And I mean, it was consistent from the first hook to the last one, is what I thought. But
yeah, Mark Ham wanted to get a comment in here. You just want to make sure the pork sandwiches were going to be there again this year, or the pork sandwiches still going to be served at Thunder in the Valley?
Yes, definitely. That's the number one deal.
We want Mark to be at ease here. He's going to be taking pictures. So somebody will run him a pork sandwich every couple hours.
We'll make sure we bring one after every class, and he has to continue to eat them all night.
Kevin Davis checking in. Lori Bauer checking in. Saying thanks, guys. Randy Barker saying, good afternoon, gentlemen. Chris Kilbarker, let the moisture marinate. Yes, sir. So I'm going to throw up the graphic from your website here, guys. A lot of information in here, and I'll let you guys talk about it. Can you guys see that on the screen?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Schedule.
So yeah, that's a good place to start. The schedule there is going to cover Thursday night, the hooks on Thursday night starting at 7, and then we got Friday night there with that number of classes starting at 6:30, and then Saturday starting at 6. So yeah, we'll have a really that show on Thursday night is going to turn out to be quite a deal. There's a lot of good hooks in there.
Yeah, that's a good show there.
Yeah. And
light mods, modified NA 2-wheel drives, Alki light supers, mod 4-wheel drive trucks, super mod 2-wheel drives, diesel supers, 4.1s, the 540s, and several of those classes competing in the Holganics summer sweep as well. That could draw in some more competitors. So yeah, this Thursday night could be huge there, guys. It really could be. Of course, you've got a page dedicated to all the classes here.
Between all 3 sessions, I was just kind of trying to count and go over it in my head. Is there any outlaw class not represented at Rock Valley? It pretty much does every single class we have hook at least once, or are there any at all that aren't there? Because it almost off the top of my head looks like we have just about every single one of them, right?
The diesel 3.0 pickups.
Okay.
Yeah, I see them on the website here, but yeah, they didn't make the schedule due to some conflicts on the schedule with a couple other pulls, and just out of respect for the other pull and not wanting to split the class as well.
Yep.
Mike, they decided not to have the class this year, but I think you'll see it back at Rock Valley. It's a pretty popular class there, that 3.0 diesel pickup class. You never know, maybe next year we'll see the mini rods up there.
I was just wondering about that
too.
too.
To see those this year.
Yep. So, but by and large, you're going to see, Outlaw fans, you're going to see if you want a one-stop shop for everything we have to offer, this is probably as close as you're going to get on the summer to seeing them all in one single location.
Yeah, Rock Valley has the most outlaw classes of any pool we have. Wisner would be right behind them. Tickets, guys, explain the tickets here. A lot of different packages you got going on. So.
Yeah, so the top one there is our weekend pass for adults. That's a discounted price, advanced discounted price. You can buy that in advance. There's also weekend pass there for the child, but then you got your opportunity as you go down there. You can buy individual nights, and if you click on one of those, it'll bring you basically to the site where it gives you more information, plus allows you to buy the ticket. So this is our landing page then, to where you can actually click on the red bar, and you can see the map, that color map. You can click on that over to the right-hand side.
Yep.
That brings up our new map, kind of our new layout that we're going to have this year. We're going to move the reserve camping to the top, to the north up there, back behind the pits. And we'll actually have a little bit expanded spectator parking area that way, but it's reserve camping, and it's going to be really close to the pits, so I expect that to be very, very popular.
Okay, so that's not additional reserve. You just moved the reserve from where it was on the south side of the highway?
The other side of the highway was not reserved. That was first come, first serve.
Okay.
And it was just like, well, whoever got in there, and whenever. But this gives you a spot. Definitely going to be in a little better area as well.
Yeah, that'll put you a little closer too, and then your walk over is right through the pit area. Would that be correct? Assuming
correct.
That.
Yeah.
And the other
look like the access is from 17th Street.
Yeah, that's 17th Street up there on the top. The green arrows come in on that Creek Boulevard. The red arrows go to the pit, and the yellow areas go to camping. So.
Okay, so fans can look that up. They can see exactly where they need to go.
Yeah, our website there, if you can go back to Thunder in the Valley, there's a true Google map there. If you go to the directions and map area, there's a camping map, there's a Google map, so you can get a lot of stuff. Scroll around on our page.
You guys, you've got everything in here: the camping, the parking, the hotels in the area. You can stay if they're not camping.
On the reservable campsite, can folks get on the website right now? Is it open? Like if they want to go ahead and start reserving, is that open to the public? When does that open up? When does that kind of shut down? At what point can they start booking that?
It is open as we speak. It actually went live earlier, actually last week a little bit. We've been doing a soft open on it, but it is open right now. They can click on that link. We'll actually have it on Facebook too. I think we'll get it out there on social media tomorrow. But they can come to this rockvalleypool.com, click on the top, go scroll way to the bottom there, and you'll see camping, reserve camping.
Yep.
$180 if you buy it before June 30th. Go ahead and click in there if you'd like that purchase. Brings you right back to this landing page of the full pool. Hit select tickets there. And now you can go in and select. We got 54 sites. You can click on one of them and actually buy it, and it's yours.
Awesome. Does that come with, now is that just a primitive spot, or does that come with any sort of electric hookup, or is that just?
It's primitive. It's dry camping. So.
But generators welcome, I would assume, right?
Yes, definitely generators are welcome, but with some common sense.
Yeah, of course. So 54 spots. Go ahead and start getting those folks. I imagine. I bet, how quickly do the hotels in town fill up? I bet this kind of stuff goes fast once you guys make this public.
The hotels are full already from last year, I think. So.
No kidding. So the hotels they're already.
I did not call them, but yeah, from what I was told, they're always full.
Yep.
Pits by the track. There's no hay sale there anymore either. So that the city owns that. So. We will not be trucks this year.
We're having a little bit of trouble hearing you, Kurt.
That lot next to the track where the parking on the gravel, that used to be a hay lot, So that's done. That's property of the city. So.
Okay, so you're talking about the pit area?
Yep.
Yes.
So can the pullers get in there early then, so they don't have to wait at the truck stop? Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we hope to have things laid out on Wednesday night. That announcement will come, but yeah, we should have the whole pit 100% laid out. Don't have to wait for the hay to leave.
When can the pullers get in? I know some pullers will be coming in after Thursday night because there is another pull that night in Ottawa. How early can the pullers come in that week?
We don't have a time on paper, but the camping says basically Wednesday at noon. So.
Okay. Okay, some questions here. Let's see, Doug Both. How thick is the plastic tarps you used on the track last year?
Them are 6 mil string tarps.
6 mil green tarps?
String. There's string through them, so.
Let's see. Chuck Cleveland has a question here. Curious if you'll have the shower trailer back this year?
Yes, definitely. Last year it was actually in town. It was up at the Faith Church. We kind of found out they had the shower in town. That's where it was. But this year it will be back. It'll be back on the on the pit area there. That is all lined up, and that's going to be available for campers as well.
Awesome. So speaking of town, you mentioned town there. You got some stuff going on downtown, specifically Saturday afternoon. Tell us about that stuff a little bit, Rich.
Yeah, so the chamber, we've been meeting with the chamber as well as the city and talked about some things, especially by moving the poll to, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. We needed a few things during the day, and they've really stepped up and come up with these things. Now we're going to be serving a breakfast, of course, in the morning, and then they're going to get Main Street going with a whole bunch of vendor fairs and specials, things going on at the stores. But then we're going to have a tractor show in the Bicentennial Park, as well as a kids pedal pull that the Outlaw Young Guns will be helping out with.
Awesome. So all kind of things. Great. I mean, it sounds like the town has really embraced this event, and I'm glad to see it. That's not always the case at a pulling event where the town where it takes place. Sometimes the town doesn't embrace it like that, but I'm glad to see the town embracing this event like this. It's only going to help the event moving forward as you guys continue to grow. This is one of the biggest pulls in the country, in my opinion.
Yeah, Kurt, he definitely lined up some of this stuff. I guess I'm going to give him credit. And we'll grow it. I mean, you can only do so much the first year. Kind of take it one step at a time.
Good deal.
When the poll teamed up with the community last year, and when you guys made it, a free will donation, and you took your proceeds and you donated it to the flood relief, did the community then, did that kind of strengthen the bond between the community and the tractor pulling board? Has the community since then kind of seen this as like, oh man, these guys have our back, we want to be even more in partnership with them? Has that kind of boosted your relationship, do you think?
I'm going to say absolutely yes. Kurt, go ahead on that.
Yeah, I agree. It was completely, they've been backing us from the start. So I mean, it gets stronger every year, I think.
Sure. So this is just a win-win, and for you guys, if they've been backing you from the start, for you guys to say, hey, we'll take care of you in your time of need, then just everyone's on the same page here. And like Ron talks about, it's just growing and growing and getting bigger and bigger. How do you look for this Thursday night session to make it expand even more in the future?
I think we'll get a different crowd. I think we'll get a lake crowd, the people that like to go to their lake houses on the weekends. I don't know. It's a wild card. I think it's far way better than what our was for crowd wise.
Yeah, kind of cutting in and out, Kurt, but kind of what we heard you said was it's a wild card crowd. It's a crowd that maybe people who have other plans on the weekend, they're going out of town, going to their lake house, they'll be available to come to this show. That's a good point too. Families that have other obligations on the weekend, here's an opportunity for them to go pulling and come and support the community and support what's going on here on a Thursday night.
Yeah, fully 100% what you said. So,
I guess I'm going to give a little shout out to, we've had excellent support from the community for 22 years. I just can't say that enough. And it continues to grow every year. And, they come to us and they want to, be sponsors. It isn't like us having to drag them in here and tie them down. It's just been really a very win-win situation.
Awesome. Well, there's the flyer there that you'll see on social media. I'm sure if you have any kind of connection to pulling and you're on social media, you've seen that flyer at some point. So 3 days, July 10th, 11th, and 12th, 32 outlaw classes, two tracks, 2 sleds. Starts at 7 p.m. Thursday on the 10th, 6:30 p.m. on the 11th, and 6 p.m. on the 12th. Go to rockvalleypull.com. Is that right, guys? The website, rockvalleypull.com.
Yes.
And you can find all that information. You can go on there and buy tickets right now, pre-sale tickets. You can buy the package deal tickets for the weekend. You can also buy a package deal with your camping spot there. So awesome job, you guys, this year in getting all this stuff together. Because all the questions I think that need to be answered that people would have are right there on the flyer and or on your webpage. So great job with that.
I think we're going to see a lot of new vehicles come out east.
Yeah.
I visited with Craig Corzine last week in Illinois, and he rattled off a lot of people that are headed this way.
Yeah, I've been told as of 4 or 5 months ago that you're going to see some teams out of Kentucky, possibly some teams out of California. they were planning on it, at least at that time. So yeah, this could be the biggest Thunder in the Valley yet, guys. So I hope you're ready.
I would not be, to piggyback off what all you guys are saying, I would not be surprised to see the state of Illinois come out in full force to this one, between Craig being outspoken that he likes this pull, and with us kind of going back into Illinois and doing some shows over there this year. And it just feels like we're developing a really good relationship with that state. A lot of tough super modified two-wheelers, a lot of tough, modifieds over there. Wouldn't be surprised at all to see a lot of members from that state come up and see what this amazing event's all about. So that's kind of my off the record prediction is we'll see a big Illini State takeover this year at the Thunder in the Valley.
Yeah, I agree. I think we'll see some 5 pro stock also come from that direction. So
yeah, it keeps getting any bigger. You're going to start giving away like state awards, state a competition between the different states.
Oh, yeah.
In Rock Valley, you know what I mean? Send a buckle or the big wrestling belt home with whichever state wins the most.
That would be, Ron, we're going to have to do that. I like that idea. We're going to have to start keeping track of that at various different shows and kind of do a running tally on, are the South Dakota boys out slugging the Iowa guys or something like that. I think that'd be a fun angle to start paying attention to at a lot of these big pulls.
Heck yeah. You guys know you had a sponsor page. I already dropped the website off there, but the sponsors you have, you want to mention those here. Give you some time here to talk about your sponsors.
Oh, yeah, you caught me off there. Hang on. My website, too, is now. Hold on a minute.
Well, Mike, talk to the folks there a minute, and I'll pull it back up here on my end.
Yeah, no problem about that. So all the classes we're going to have this year, what I'm curious about, too, and you can almost kind of feel it right here, Kurt, the atmosphere of the town. I mean, we're excited for this because we've got pulling fever and we can't wait to go to Ravenna in 24 days. Everyone gets excited for Rock Valley because it's Rock Valley. What's it feel like just driving through town on pull week? I mean, is this what everybody's talking about in the donut shop and the coffee shop? Does the town kind of know that it gets an extra buzz around this time of year? What's it like just being a resident?
Oh, I would say, yeah. They like to watch. Lots of people that like to look. I mean, at the semi coming into the parking lot, there's always people around looking. And yeah, they just ooh and ah over everything. They notice everybody come uptown, eat at the restaurant, the bars. Yeah, and that's how I would say polite, respectful. And yeah, they most people enjoy it.
Sure. I just, how that can kind of take on like when there's a big ball game in town or something, the whole town, you can kind of feel that electricity. I imagine that up there, this is something that you can just feel that buzz going on. So it'd be neat to see it from their perspective. I know we can't wait to get up there and just see it from our perspective as well.
Yep. Yeah. No, what the town's been through, it's always good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep. Bodiat confirming the circles folks he talks to, several 7,400-pound mods as well as light mods coming out of Illinois to Rock Valley. So, yeah, I think it's going to be really huge this year. And I'm going to go ahead and pull up the website again, guys, and we can look at those sponsors.
I've got the sponsors, unless you're going to get to the sponsor page there or not.
I'm on the sponsor page right now, Rich. If
you want that's where I'm at. But yeah, we've got our official sponsors that we got 15 or 20 major official sponsors. You can scroll through them there. Advanced Ag Products, Organics, Iowa Cutter, Ziegler Ag Equipment, Agrivision, Dale and Mary Palmer are the landowners. Eco Tuning, D&K Repair, which is Kurt and Dave, B&B Gates, Valley Industrial, Powder Coating, Rock Valley Tractor Parts. We got the Van Zees Enterprises. We got the Premier Bank, Cherry's Repair, and A&I Products, Town and Country Implement, where I work here, and Case IH. The city of Rock Valley as well. So those top sponsors there, have just been really good to us over the last 20 years. And then we've got class sponsors. You can kind of go through them. I won't read them all off. And I think total and all, we got like 100 different sponsors that are listed there.
Awesome. Is this the most sponsors you've ever had for the event? Does that sponsor list keep growing, or?
Yeah, we had about 4 or 5 a year. Some of them move up. Some of them move up to other categories as well. And I apologize. There's a few of them that just up their ante, so I've got to move them up the slot again.
Mhm.
So yeah, it's encouraging that way.
That's awesome.
That's a good problem to have when you need to bump them up a bracket because they've kicked it a nickel on how much they want to support. So that's a good. You're happy to make that change on the website, I'm sure.
Yeah, we'll keep doing that every day.
Lori says the most important part about the weekend is there's really good shopping there in Rock Valley, the little shop.
They're going to be doing some town sales, I guess, all weekend while the pullers are in town.
What time do the festivities start in town on Saturday?
The breakfast is 7:30. 7:30 to 10:30. The breakfast will be uptown in the Bicentennial Park, and we will be running shuttles from the tractor pull to uptown. So whoever doesn't have a vehicle will be able to get them back and forth. And then there's going to be some stuff starting at 10:30. A lot of different food and restaurants. But yeah, the tractor show starts at 10 and the kiddie pulls at noon, I believe.
12:30.
12:30.
You guys act like you've been doing this for a few years. You seem to have all the bases covered here.
Lots of good help and ideas, and go from there.
Awesome, guys. Thanks so much. Anything you guys want to add about your pull this year that we haven't covered so far tonight?
Yeah, just basically, I think the biggest thing is everybody needs to know that, our pit area for the pullers is going to be opened up. We should be able to get everybody off the street into the pit a lot easier, a lot better. We're going to have increased parking for the spectators, and then the camping area is going to be a nice addition, and that'll be a nice area to be over there in. So it's going to, hopefully our logistics of get that kind of straightened out. That's been our goal. So
awesome. I encourage everyone that's interested in going to this pull, go to rockvalleypull.com. All the details, everything you need to know, maps, prices, advance ticket prices, and everything. You can buy your tickets straight from the website. It's rockvalleypull.com. So, guys, thanks so much for coming on. We're looking forward to this. This is going to be huge come early July here. July 10th, 11th, and 12th, Thunder in the Valley. I'm guessing it's going to be the biggest and best one yet, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would agree.
So we'll keep pushing it, and thanks so much for coming on, guys. Appreciate you.
Yep. Have a great night.
Yeah, it's going to be huge, Mike.
Going to and just on top of that, if nothing else, going to a 3-day, approach almost sends the message and just says we are one of those premier level pulls. When you think of where are their Thursday, Friday, Saturday pulls, you think of Wisner, obviously, that did that a couple years ago, but you think of Toma that's been doing it since forever. You think of Bowling Green, and this just says we are at that level. We feel that we have been at that level. And to me, regardless of the logistics of, the Saturday afternoon or the Thursday night, it just sends the message of we're a destination pull. And I want to go back to something you said, families making a vacation out of this. That's legitimately something that diehard pulling fans can and should and will do. And we all know that there's the pulls that you need to see before your time is up. If you haven't been to this one yet, this is one that you need to get to. Make a vacation out of it, bring the camper up here, let the wives go into town and check out all the activities they have. It's one you're not going to want to miss. It was one I was happy that I got to see firsthand when I came on board last year.
Well, even if you're taking some extra time, I mean, there's some pretty cool things in driving distance from Rock Valley. I mean, Sioux Falls, South Dakota,
sure,
pretty cool place to go visit. There are some state parks right across the state line in Minnesota. So you can make a vacation of it, the entire week, and do a little bit besides just tractor pulling. Of course, the tractor pulling would be the cherry on top for me.
Yep.
But yeah, some other cool things to do to have a family vacation and have it center around this awesome event. So great job to the Valley Pullers for getting that website together. Lots of good information. I'm glad that Rich made me wait to bring them on the show till they had all the loose ends tied up. And now folks can go right to that website, buy their tickets right now, and be set up. So awesome job. Awesome job. So one thing I want to do here, Mike, why don't you go ahead and do When the Smoke Clears.
We can do it.
And I'm going to look up the information here on this pull in Freeport, Illinois, so the fans can see all the details on that buy-in jackpot.
Awesome. So we'll kick things over to When the Smoke Clears, like always, our social media highlight. When the smoke clears, you'll be looking at an outlaw. The outlaw that you'll be looking at this week, Casey Asmus in the Deere Cruiser 3200 Super Field. And Ron, take a quick look at this while you're loading that other thing. Kinsey is really having fun with the theme at this point. We've now gone 3 weeks in a row after I made my joke of you'll never see a tractor puller in a tuxedo, and she is just on a mission. We've got 3 in a row. Casey Asmus, he's out there with the ball cap looking good. Let's take a quick look at his highlight reel right here. When the smoke clears, you'll see the Deere Cruiser. All right, let's get his biography pulled up really quickly. Featured driver this week, Casey Asmus. He calls that tractor the Deere Cruiser. He pulls in the 3200 Super Field division. Now, it's always worth pointing out, of course, that 3200, not the weight limit on that. That would be a little crazy. That, of course, is an RPM class. That class is monitored with a computer on the sled that's actually going to check in. They cannot turn more than 3,200 RPM on their trip down the track. He has been pulling for a full 20 years. Says his first hook was in Wayne, Nebraska. He was a big winner in Wayne, I remember, this past summer. I actually think that he won a couple of pulls in a row, kind of went on a back-to-back there Thursday night. I think he might have won up in Britt and then picked up another win in Wayne the very next week, or the very next night, rather. Says most memorable hook was in Pierce, Nebraska. He was the last hook of the night, and that was his hometown hook. Wildest ride, he didn't tell us on that one. We'll have to get him on the show and ask him point blank what his wildest ride was. Points championships, answers it like a true veteran. He says, yeah, I've got a few. Didn't give us a number, just says I have a few points championships. His biggest pulling heroes, said that would go to his dad, his uncle, and his grandpa. Best pulling advice, simply says try your best, but have fun while you're doing it. His day job, he's a farmer. Pulling goals, he wants to get out there and win a few more points championships. And Ron, here's some interesting news. Maybe go up a class. So would be kind of neat. Always kind of fun when we see pullers start having that seed of an idea in there. So be on the lookout for that. Says best part about being an outlaw, he says they're great shows, great crowds, and it's fun interacting with all of the other pullers. Message to the fans, get out in the pits and interact with the pullers. Probably the most common message that we hear. So that they love having you out there, love looking at their equipment. It's a beautiful piece. We'll put it up there one more time so you can take a look at his tractor. When the smoke clears, you'll be looking at an outlaw, and that outlaw is Casey Asmus in the Deere Cruiser. 3200 Super Field fun class. They're kind of a breath of fresh air for me because they're a break from all the stuff you see at Freedom Hall. They run the skinny tires. They are an RPM class, kind of some true blue tractor pulling, kind of an old school way of doing things. And I really enjoy that class.
Yeah, that class is pretty competitive. Kavanaugh's kind of owned that class the last few years. But Asmus is one of those John Deeres that can get in there and kind of be a burr in Kavanaugh's saddle a little bit.
Sure.
And I don't think he runs the entire season. I think he misses a pull or two here and there. Man, if he hit every one, he might give Kavanaugh a run for his money.
Yeah, but that's one that hasn't been talked about a lot, or talked about enough, that we've seen these classes where, Sweet Pain went on their run there in the late 2010s, and Keith Hammonds, he's dominated the Pro Stock 4x4 class. Kavanaugh with that Red Edge, was it Red Edge 2, I think he calls it.
Yep.
He's back to back at least, and I'd have to go check my notes, but he is quietly building kind of a dynasty in that one. So that's something that, is worth pointing out and worth highlighting a little bit, because he's been really tough to beat here for a while.
Yeah, it's, Ron Fix kind of owned it there for a couple years, and then Kavanaugh comes in and kind of takes over. But the Deer Cruiser's one that gets in there and gets him a win here and there. I think he'd give him a run for his money if he, ran every hook of the season there. Could be interesting, a good green-red battle there in that 3,200 class.
Well, and it gives you some variety, because we don't like to sleep on, like, let's say Adam Serve and his case, or the She Said No Agco that pulls, and I feel like those are two tractors that can mix it up and get up there in the top 3, or even walk away with a win from time to time. Fun class if you haven't watched it a lot, because you think, well, I only watch diesel supers, or I only watch big pro stocks. Look at this 3,200, super field class. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, pretty competitive class. Robert Miner, what class is SSDT? That'd be super stock diesel truck, 4-wheel drive trucks there, Robert. So
new one that we'll see out on the schedule a little bit this year. They'll hook a couple. Now, on those with like the super stock diesel trucks and, the limited mini rods, will there still be like a points champion? Will that be a points race, regardless of the fact that they're only hitting a couple of times?
There won't be a points fund for those classes until they get at least 6 hooks. We got to have,
that answers my question.
To have a points fund is 6 hooks in a season. So try to do that for both classes this year. Always kind of tough with a new class, getting it, You got the promoters have to see it with their own eyes. They got to hear that buzz. And I think you're going to see that with both classes this year. And I think you'll see it hooking more times next year. So there's a possibility that Superstock diesel truck class could be added. Of course, it won't be a points class. We can add classes after the date of May 1st. That's our cutoff for points classes. If you're a promoter and you want to have the Outlaw 2-wheel drives running for points, and you got to have the contract in by May 1. Well, after May 1, you can add a class, but it won't be a points hook for that class. So we're not going to run into that anyway with that super stock diesel truck class this year. They don't have enough hooks anyway, even if we added a couple more to have a points fund. But there is a possibility we could see that added to another pool later on in the season. So just keep that in your hip pocket there. Cole Lundahl is, he says, back on what you were talking about, Mike, Casey Asmus and the Deer Cruiser swept Pierce and Wayne last year.
But I was thinking that he had a back-to-back finish where he grabbed a couple of first places, and I remember talking to him, and he was really happy with how the tractor was running. And like you said, Ron, can get a little salty, and you get kind of an X-Factor driver that does that, and it can put the whole class on red alert when something like that happens. And that can happen at about any point with these great Outlaw pullers.
I'm gonna throw up the graphic here on the screen for the Stevenson County Fair. That's Freeport, Illinois. That pull this summer. It's one modified tractor hook for the Outlaws. It's Outlaw/ITPA 7,400-pound mods. This is the jackpot. This is separate from the payout. It's a double purse payout, Outlaw payout, double purse. But the jackpot, which is optional, now here's the scale, Mike. If you look here, if they have 10 entries in the jackpot in that modified class on Wednesday night, the winner will get $10,000 on top of the regular payout. And it will pay 5 spots, 10,000, 5,000, 3,000, 1,500, and 500 for 5th. If they have 20 entries, it will pay 20 grand to win, and it will pay, looks like 9 spots. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, from 20,000, 10,000 for second, 4,000 for third, 3,000 for fourth, 1,000 for fifth, and 800, 600, 400, 200. if they have 30 entries. It's a possibility. I think
so my wheels are turning, Ron, because I'm cranking the numbers. We've got, I would say, 8 to 12 that hook with us consistently. Then you get over there into ITPA and you even hit some maybe of like, your PPL or your Grand National guys, but that would be in that vicinity. At first glance, you're like, oh, 30, you'll never get 30. It's not as out of the question as you think. Once you start saying, well, okay, there's Bollingers, there's Sullivans, or, it becomes a whole lot more feasible once you start just because of the location.
Yeah, with 30 entries, they'll pay 15 spots. The top spot getting $30,000.
That's like I said, that's Farley-ish. That's be on red alert, folks. I don't see why not.
$15,000 for second, $5,000 for third, $4,000 for fourth, $3,000 for fifth, $2,000 for sixth, $1,500 seventh, $1,000 for eighth. Then it goes $600, $500, $400, $300, $200, $150, $100 all the way down to 15th. So I think easily they'll have the 10 entries, which is $10,000 to win. 20 entries, very feasible. 20,000 to win. 30 entries, a definite possibility. $30,000 to win there. The jackpot alone, that's a $2,200 entry fee on that jackpot. That's not even part of the payout.
Yeah,
it's a double purse. So
that's like fun money when you go out golfing with your buddies and you set something aside in the Crown Royal bag. I mean, that's what that is. This is a parlay or whatever you want to call it. This is them having their own competition within the competition. What's neat about that developing story, so if this jackpot starts attracting mods like this, don't get us wrong, 30 is feasible. It's still a big number. That's a big number. But when was the last time you would have seen over 25 mods in a single class anywhere? That has the potential to be something really unique, really special. Ron, I want to hear you announce for 30 straight modifieds. That would definitely be the biggest mod class I think you've ever done,
Yeah, that would be. I don't think I've ever seen that many in one place at one time. But that's a big deal, man. This summer is really
there's some neat things going on in polling right now across the board, regardless of what association. Now, of course, our association, I think, has laid a lot of the groundwork and led the charge on a lot of the innovative things. Yeah. But just in general, the narrative of truck and tractor pulling is going to be really fun to watch this summer.
Yeah, there's the flyer for it. Of course, they pull Tuesday, Wednesday. They're at the Freeport, Illinois, at the Stevenson County Fair. Wednesday night's the big night we're talking about there. They're at the bottom on the right. And those modified tractors there. Those are the ones in the jackpot. So big deal for them. Mark Kohlberg doing a lot of the work there.
In the payout, so just the regular non-jackpot payout, it's a double payout.
Double per. Yeah.
But it's single points?
Single points. It's a regular
single points, but double folding cash to the winner.
Yeah. Well, it's not. You don't take the top place and double it. They did add another place, so it's almost double to the winner, close to it.
I got you.
Instead of a $7,000 purse, it is a $14,000 purse for that.
Sure.
Class. All that $14,000.
I understand. Yeah.
So, and some other interesting things here. You've probably been seeing these graphics up for this the last couple of weeks. The Holganics Midwest, awesome sponsor, 2025 Summer Sweep. 10 classes, 18 cities, $80,000 this year. That's $8,000 per class. Huge this summer, the Holganics Midwest Summer Sweep. And I've been posting up some of those classes here. Just posted this one up today, Pro Stock 4x4. This is your schedule in the sweep. Ravenna, Ottawa, Rock Valley, Warrensburg, Wayne, Mercer, and Wisner, and Pro Stock 4x4. 540 Light Pro. Now, we've talked about this one, Mike.
Yep.
For the number of hooks for this class, if you were to win the points and the sweep, that's a pretty good payout for 11 hooks. There's 10 in the sweep. There are 11 total hooks for the class. That's a pretty good payday for the numbers of hooks in that class. Modified tractors, there's your schedule for that. Ravenna, Donaldson, Iowa, Rock Valley, Warrensburg, Wayne, Wisner, and Unionville. Super Farms also posted up this week. Ravenna, Ottawa, Rock Valley, Wayne, Scribner, the Iowa State Fair, and Wisner, Nebraska. So keep your eye out for those. Still have 6 more of those to post up, those individual class schedules. You'll be able to keep track of those not only on social media this year, but also on the website, outlawpulling.com. There's a special section under pullers. Once you go on there, click on the pullers section at the top, and out of the menu, you'll see the Holganics Summer Sweep on there, Holganics Midwest Summer Sweep. You can keep track, pullers and fans alike, of those points for the sweep on the website.
Awesome stuff. Big deal.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. Points within points. Increasing the payback to the pullers. Going to 3-day pull in Rock Valley. Pulling in 24 days. Jackpots popping up. You know, what's not to love about it? You know, Wayne, they've always had what's Wayne call theirs a shootout, you know, which is kind of like, that's a sponsor.
Limited Pro, the
4-1 that's not a, that they don't have to put up the cash for that themselves.
So Anderson Farms, a local farm there, loves that class, loves pulling, and they put the money up. I think it's $32.50 this year they're putting up for that shootout. It's always a big deal of Wayne. And still some more cool stuff coming down the pike here, Mike. Hopefully by next Tuesday night, we can announce some of that stuff too.
Yep.
Put it out there. I'm not going to say a whole lot about it, but it's good for the pullers. It's good for the fans, and it's going to put money back out there into the pockets of the pullers, which is what we're trying to do. We want to take care of our stars out there.
That's the goal, 100%. Absolutely.
So, folks, thanks for watching tonight. Always have great viewership here on this show. It really surprises me. It's awesome to see so many pulling fans as excited about pulling as you and I are, Mike.
For sure.
So you're not going to be on here.
I'm gonna be absent for, and this snuck up on me. This is one of those where, oh, that's forever away, and then it dawned on me, you will not see me again. The next time you and I will see each other will be in Ravenna. And folks, the next time you'll hear my voice, it'll be in live person or at the live stream at Ravenna next week. My oldest son has his kindergarten graduation, so shout out to Braxton. Great job. Super proud of what you did this year.
Awesome.
Of course, you know, there's a graduation for everything, but we're going to, I'm going to go and support it nonetheless, because there's no such thing as too much of that. So we got kindergarten graduation next Tuesday. And then each of the following weeks, we're taking off on a big one. We're going to take the family to Maine. We're going to drive to Maine and back in one motorhome with the in-laws. So,
man, there's a lot of stuff to stop and see between Bevier, Missouri, and Maine, my friend. There's a lot of neat things.
That'll be the farthest I have ever been from. I'm a true blue Midwesterner, Ron. The world is not so big for me. That'll be the farthest I have ever been away from home in my life. But yeah, I won't be on here for the next 3 weeks unless, we find a rest area and you just gotta check in a little bit, and I got to do it from the motorhome. But no, we got some big plans, but then that frees up the schedule for the entire rest of the summer, where we're going to go truck and tractor pulling with the Outlaws.
Good deal. All right, buddy. Thank you so much for all you do. Thanks to all the fans out there. We'll see you next Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Central on Outlawed Live.
The Outlaw Truck and Tractor Pulling Association thunders into Cambridge, Illinois for Smoking on the Prairie. Join us Friday, June 20th at 6 p.m. for 2 tracks of awesome outlaw action. 5 total classes will bring all the noise and power. Cambridge, Illinois, Friday, June 20th. Smoking on the prairie.